I'm Graham Kennedy. Ken Sutcliffe and I bring you the news coast to coast. Ken, is there any news fit to see on this Friday evening, the 6th day of May, 1988?
Graham, tonight a man shot dead in Canberra after warning a building society he was about to rob them. And tonight's the night as you celebrate 31 years on the box.
31 years. On this day, May the 6th, 1957, I was more terrified than I am now.
Were you really?
Petrified, Ken.
But you're not now.
No, I've relaxed with this program. It's lovely. It's lovely.
It's a comfortable chair now, isn't it?
It is, Ken. And why, if the fight was so rotten and the guy was knocked out in the first round, why are we starting 7 minutes late? You are the sporting person that I know in this organisation. Explain yourself.
Can you ever forgive us, Mr. Kennedy?
I'll try and find it within my heart. What will you give me? No, it's not our policy. Ken and I were talking last night about it's not our policy in the news show to send personal calls. Already we've had, notes saying, "Oh, Graham, we love the show. Would you say hello to Mildred? I live in Bairnsdale, but I'd like her to get the word. Call me Joe. She's watching in Coolangatta." Well, of course we can't do that. That is, we thought we couldn't do that. But last night, Ken and I thought, we had a little chat, glass of red, little chat. We thought, $1,000 a word would be fair, All cheques made out to cash, of course, and we're also on bank card. So how that would work out is, let's say, I love you, Rhonda Dawson, love Wayne.
Right.
That would only cost $7,000. And Ken and I will split equally, 30-70.
Hey, come on. If I'm going to get involved in the racket, even my maths say that's a little one-sided.
Oh, well, we'll discuss that. We might make it 60-40.
Happy.
Right. None of that is true, of course, but it's a way of sending a call to that doyen of newsreaders, Sir Eric Pearce, who's recovering from an unpleasant experience of ill health. He's been feeling poorly, but not gumble. Best wishes and love to you, Eric, from all of us here on this concert, which we call Graham Kennedy's News Show. Love you, Eric.
Graham celebrates his 31st anniversary on television tonight, so we have a special edition of the program for you, Graham.
And I think I have the first item. Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I was going to say, go for your life.
Thank you. Right. On a more serious note, a man is dead tonight after a bizarre hold-up at a building society in the heart of Canberra. Police shot the man as he attempted to flee after he'd threatened staff with a high-powered revolver. What's so strange about the incident is that the man actually rang first to warn he was coming.
The gunman fell under a hail of bullets at the door of this van, which he tried to commandeer in his bid to flee police. The shooting happened just before 5, as workers in downtown Canberra were heading home. Some failed at first to comprehend the gravity of the situation.
As I heard shots, about 3 or 4, it sounded like cap gun shots, so I didn't think it was real. I thought it was some sort of staged scene or something.
There was nothing staged about it. The shots punctuated the bloody end to a bizarre series of events that began earlier in the afternoon when a man phoned the Canberra Building Society threatening staff. Police staked out the branch, and at 4:45, in walked a man armed with a .45 revolver, unaware the law was laying in wait.
They challenged that man, he produced a gun, he ran away, police pursued him, he tried to commandeer a vehicle, he pointed the gun at police fired at the man, and the man has been taken to the Royal Canberra Hospital.
The gunman was dead on arrival at the hospital. What remains unclear tonight is why he alerted staff by phone of his intentions. Even more baffling is that police have ruled out an obvious motive.
I don't think it was an actual bank robbery, but I believe there was an offence in progress, but not necessarily a bank holding.
As to what the motive was, police aren't saying, but there are unconfirmed reports tonight that the gunman was involved in an extortion attempt. His identity has not been revealed. Stephen Fenley for Graham Kennedy's News Show.
The National Party, at one time also known as the Country Party, is going through a new identity crisis. The party bigwigs got together today to consider an amazing political move of merging with the Liberals.
Although he's been long in retirement, National Party elder statesman and former Federal Minister Peter Nixon was asked to chair the committee into the party's future after the National Party did so badly in the last federal election. He believes the arguments in favour of amalgamation are very strong.
As a result of media networking as a result of population changes, for a whole lot of reasons explained in the report, that if the party is interested in the future of the country, then they must consider the question of amalgamation.
Ian Sinclair, the party's federal leader, doesn't agree.
There's no reason at this time why the two should merge.
The Nixon report makes three major points. It says to voters, Australian politics is simply a choice between Conservative or Socialist. It's undeniable that maintaining two separate Conservative parties is a waste of money and human resources and involves enormous duplication of effort. Three cornered electoral contests, it says, involving Labor, Liberal and National Party candidates enable the Labor Party to exploit differences on the Conservative side. There'll be a special meeting of the National Party mid-year to decide just what to do on this issue. Peter Harvey reporting for Graham Kennedy's News Show.
Graham, 31 years in any industry, particularly television. I've got to tell you, it's a miracle. Probably a week in our case. I mean, a lot of people have said that. But yeah, there's a lot of old friends who've checked in tonight to say good day. And here's one I'm pretty sure you'll recognise.
Let's have a look.
Hi, Chick. This is Albert Watson, Wilberforce, Thomas Joseph, Patrick Belmont, Francis Archibald, Kenneth John, Aloysius Peter Newton, better known to you as Herbie. I want to congratulate you on a magnificent achievement. 31 years. It's fantastic. And it's great to be on your show, too. You might wonder where I'm speaking from. I know you're not wondering where I'm speaking from. Perhaps somebody out there is wondering where I'm speaking from. Let me show you where I am. This is a disused room. It used to be a radio studio in this building. Memories, eh, Chick? The old Princess Theatre, which used to house 3XY. And as you might recall, Graham, back 31 years ago on May the 6th, 1957, while you were starting out to become Australia's greatest ever television star, still hurts me to say it, but I mean it, I was working here on air. Television-wise, I was 3 months behind you. And I know what you're saying right now. I've always been 3 months behind you. Congratulations on a magnificent achievement. It's terrific to see you back on television. Incidentally, if you think you're nervous about starting a brand new television program, on Sunday night they're doing a story on me in 60 Minutes, over which I have no editorial control whatsoever. Can you imagine how nervous I'm going to be at 7:30 on Sunday night? All the best, Chick. And for old time's sake, let's try it. When I'm calling you,
will you answer true?
Good luck to you, Chick, and again, congratulations.
And Bert Newton will be appearing on 60 Minutes this Sunday in a candid interview in which he slams the Australian television industry. Why don't we have a little sneak preview?
Your closest friends want to see you fail professionally. It's sad, but it's true. The strongest emotion in show business, unfortunately, I'd like to say it was love. It's not. It's jealousy.
1978 Gold Logie winner, Bert Newton.
Are you sometimes shocked by the industry you work in?
I would assume it's just like a factory. Nice people, not so nice people, the kindest people in the world, and bastards.
Going to say?
Coming back on a two-shot.
I beg your pardon. Straight in, Ken. What are you doing with yourself?
7, 5, 4, 3, 2.
I'm 31 today.
What? I mean, that tie segment, I couldn't believe the reaction, but what have you done?
Well, since I can't tie it, I thought I'd put on one of those.
Gee, it's tasteful, too.
Do you like it? It's a fish, you see.
It's a clip-on one, isn't it?
Yes. But I thought that might be the answer, since no one will show me. Actually, yours is not crash-off tonight
No,
either.
because it's a thicker type of tie.
It's no good saying that.
But that's the reason.
We both need lessons from Hendo.
It's a half, yes. Yeah, well, this is a half Windsor.
All right.
I've learned since last night, which was
in the dressing room later, I'll show you a full Nelson.
Which was a riveting segment.
Okay. Ken, what's happening in Melbourne?
Victorian motorists who like a drink, you'd better look out. The state government is considering some of the toughest measures ever to keep drink drivers off the road. These include zero alcohol licences and ignition locking devices.
According to the Parliamentary Committee, drink driving is the single most important cause of deaths on our roads, and all the evidence confirms that most drunks behind the wheel habitually drink and drive. It's people like these in particular, says the committee, who should be restricted to zero alcohol licences.
I think if the community understands that we're talking about people who have at least a second offence on 0.05 or have an offence of 0.1, which is double the legal limit, I think they would understand that these at least 12,000 offenders every year are a great danger on the road, and I think people will accept it.
The committee also suggests trials on an ignition control device as another way of keeping drunks off the roads. It's simple yet effective. Blow over the legal limit and your car won't start. If the committee's proposals are accepted, convicted drink drivers would have to pay about $900 to have the device installed as a condition of having their licences renewed. Sally Lewis for Graham Kennedy's News Show.
Sally, in what everyone tells me is an astonishing move, the blighted Sydney Swans, who are really South Melbourne, once in the caring hands of Dr. Jeffrey Edelson, have been purchased by the VFL itself. It seems that no one else wanted the Swans, though it still cost the Victorian Football League a cool $6 million.
When Dr. Jeffrey Edelson was given control of the Sydney Swans in 1985, optimism was high in the harbour city that the club would become a success. But just 3 years later, the Swans have become an embarrassment and financial disaster for the league, who have finally had enough of the on-again, off-again sale to less than interested buyers. So late today, the VFL became the new owner of the club.
Well, we'll have total control. Power Play will no longer have any say in the operations of the club and the ownership of the club, and we will install a new board of directors.
One of those directors is television personality Mike Willesee. Willesee has a diverse sporting background, owning a stable of champion racehorses, and played a handful of games with South Melbourne Reserves in the early 60s. And all Power Play shares have now been transferred to the VFL.
Power Play has invested over $8 million in keeping the Swans operating over the past 2 years. They've had no return on that investment, but now they've sold it to the VFL effectively for around $6 million.
Tony Jones for Graham Kennedy's News Show.
And a great game of VFL tonight at the MCG between the West Coast Eagles and North Melbourne. Only 4 points separated the teams at three-quarter time, but North Melbourne went on to win 17-21, 123, to the Eagles 17-8, 110.
In Perth, 15 disabled athletes took part in a 42-kilometre marathon, the final event of the week-long National Games. In a time of 1 hour and 57 minutes, Queensland's Michael Nugent won the race, the first sub-2-hour marathon. That brave, adventurous lady, Kay Cotty, sailing single-handed around the world, is just 400 nautical miles off the West Australian coast. Once she touches shore, Kay will become the first woman to sail non-stop around the globe. One of Australia's great athletes, Austin Ocker Robinson, died today, aged 80, in Perth. The former world champion professional sprinter, a player with South Melbourne and coach, was also the man responsible for bringing Dennis Lilly back from injury.
Former king of the motor racing world, Austrian Niki Lauda. We were going to do something with this, and they said, no, it's too old, you couldn't possibly do it. I was going to say Lauda, and you'd say Lauda. We'll try it. Just reel back to the start there, Millicent. Former king of the motor racing world, Austrian Niki Lauda.
Lauda.
Niki Lauda.
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work, does it?
Doesn't.
Is playing with much bigger toys these days. They were right upstairs. First time. He's bought himself an airline, which will soon run flights to Australia. This weekend, he's flying one of his own Boeings over, proving a near-fatal crash 12 years ago has hardly slowed him down at all.
He flies them in the way he drove Formula One cars.
I don't know too much. I must say, Ken, on the subject of motor car racing, I'm not... there's a lot I don't... Good night.
You don't know a lot.
No, I don't.
We won't pursue it.
Had great figures in Adelaide, though. We can talk about that.
Yeah, the ratings were very nice in Adelaide and Perth.
And Brisbane.
Yeah.
But Adelaide, we won 4 nights out of 5.
Yeah.
I think we're on a...
Played strong.
Ripper.
Yeah. And I can't help but get the impression that, Graham, that you've worked with just about anyone who's everyone or whatever in show business in the last 31 years. Now, including our most successful writer, the human high-rise, they've called him here, David Williamson, who has some well-crafted words for you.
Oh.
Congratulations, Graham, on your 31st anniversary on television. I was right there as a viewer at the start. I was a great fan, in fact, a compulsive fan of In Melbourne Tonight, and it was one of the great pleasures in my life when you agreed to play roles in 3 of my movies, Don's Party, The Club, and Freddie in Travelling North.
Anyone at home? G'day. Freddie Wicks, your neighbour. I saw that you'd arrived, so I just popped over to see whether perhaps I could help you move in.
I didn't know we had a neighbour. Do you say Mr. Wicks?
Oh, Freddie, please. No, you can't see me from here, but I'm over there in amongst the trees.
One of the great character actors, if not the greatest, in the country. Superb timing, and I've been very privileged to have him in those movies.
Don't they look terrific, Saul?
Great. Oh, now, come on, Freddie.
Now, you'll have to get in really close. In close, really tight, because Saul... No, two. One. There we go.
I hate photographs. They never make me look intelligent.
What he lacks in youth, he makes up for in modesty.
Now, come on, really smile.
Oh, come on, let's get going.
Now, there's a big smile. You've got to do big smile. One more.
Yes, I know.
Excellent. Saul, would you take one of me and Frank and Francis and then... Oh, no, forget it. No, they've gone. Forget it. Oh, well, perhaps while you're there, pity to waste it.
I hope you grace one of my future films.
On this day in 1937, the German Zeppelin, the Hindenburg, exploded into flames while landing at Lakehurst, New Jersey. More than a third of the passengers and crew were killed, which isn't to say that airships aren't absolutely the safest form of travel, or my boss's name isn't Alan Bond. King Edward VII, eldest son of Queen Victoria and namesake of ugly Edwardian wardrobes, died on this day in 1910. He was succeeded by King George V. Roger Bannister became the first man and certainly the first person to run the sub-4-minute mile. He did it on this day in 1954 in 3.94 minutes and in a singlet and shorts. Meanwhile, on this day in 1840, postage stamps were introduced following a report recommending a uniform rate of postage by means of an adhesive stamp. It also meant that they then had to invent posties, letterboxes and the word philately. And on this day in 1957, a little blonde fellow came into our living rooms and stayed for 31 years. Me. As I said earlier, there are very few of us left.
You picked yourself up a good sort that time.
Yes, yes.
31 years in the business, in television. But where did it start? I mean, obviously you were born.
Born in Balaclava.
Which is where?
Yeah, or sort of in St Kilda.
Yeah.
And went to the look at me with the little teddy bear.
Yeah.
Oh, that's me.
You were cute.
Oh, wasn't I cute? I don't know what went wrong.
You got a lot of hair. No, you got more hair now, actually, than then.
Ken, do you wish you hadn't started that? Yes, Balaclava, went to school at Caulfield Central. Before that, though, I went to a funny little place on the corner of Chapel and Carlisle Street, which I think was a school for not terribly bright people. There's me holding a little... I'm marching and concentrating with the tongue stuck in, which I still do, in the corner of the mouth.
Could you see show business coming your way then?
Soon after that, I started playing radio stations at home, yes. With the gramophone, pretending to be a radio announcer. So then I went to Melbourne High School, and then, have we had the picture of me on the beach? That's my favourite. Has that gone? Oh, there it is. There's my Aunt Helen, that's me in the front, and there's my mum to the right.
And the man in the middle?
Yes.
Oh.
That's right, there is a man in the middle. No, it's Uncle Dusty.
Uncle Dusty?
Uncle Dusty Rhodes, his name was. He was a friend. I called him Uncle Dusty, he wasn't really an uncle. So, went to school, Melbourne High School, then I got a job running news for Radio Australia, physically running news. The editor at the Radio Australia newsroom would give me the bulletin. I'd run with it up to the ABC studios. Radio Australia in those days was behind 3AR and 3LO in a little cottage, and I'd thrust the bulletin into the announcer's hands and he'd glare at me because I'd be so late he wouldn't have time to read it first.
When did you get on air?
Well, I applied for a job. When I left school, I applied for a job at 3AW, didn't get it. Applied for a job at 3UZ, didn't get it. But then they, 3UZ rang me and said the job I'd applied for wasn't available, but there was another one in the record library, which meant as the records came out of the studio, I would file them. We called it filing the wash. The records that came out of the studio were called the wash.
That was the days when the radio announcers had to have very, very deep voices. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, that wasn't sort of personality radio as we know it today, was it?
No disc jockeys at all. No, you had the proper... the proper radio announcer's voice, which was deep. There was Rolly Barley and John McMahon and Norman Ellis. I wouldn't know the Sydney equivalents.
What about commercials? Were you good at commercials then? Doing commercials?
Well, no. See, it wasn't until a fellow called Nicky came on. Lewis Bennett was our general manager at 3UZ, and on 3KZ doing a breakfast program was this amazing man. Nicky, his name was. His real name was Clifford Nichols Witter. His widow, I hope, is watching tonight. Her name is Nancy Lee. Her name is Nancy Lee. So Lewis got him to come to... and what we all loved about Nicky was that he talked to his turntable operator, you see. And I was learning to be a turntable. So Nicky came but brought a guy with him to work with. Then he had another guy from senior to me at 3UZ to work with, and they were both working with him. I used to take the tea in the morning to Mr. Nichols. Then the most wonderful thing happened. Compulsory national service training. So the two guys, Russ and Elf, they had to go off to Puckapunyal. I went on the air with Nicky, and that was my big break.
We've got some film, just by coincidence, of Nicky.
There was no film.
Yep, we've got some stuff. We've got some stuff.
I don't think there was any. Oh, my God. Oh. Would you look at all that hair? On me, I mean. That's Nicky on the right.
Not a lot's changed in radio, has it?
Would you look at that? Isn't
Radio
that
vision.
How embarrassing, Ken.
What happened after that, television? When did television come along?
Well, 3UZ, that station I was working at, had shares in GTV9. The networks were different then. GTV9 in Melbourne was associated with ATN7 in Sydney and vice versa. 3UZ had shares in GTV, and at 3UZ each year we did a Red Cross appeal in March.
Right.
And it was decided this year that we do probably Australia's first simulcast. I could be wrong there, but certainly one of the earliest ones, where you could listen to the appeal on radio and watch it on television. I went along with all the other 3UZ announcers, had far too much makeup put on, and did the appeal. And soon after that I was asked whether I'd like to do 5 nights a week on radio. I didn't finish about Nicky.
Yeah.
He and his wife, Nancy Lee, had a fantastic program on radio when I was a little boy called Chatterbox Corner, a children's show. And their theme was called the Chum Song.
Yes.
And I have taken the Chum Song from there all through my life, and no producer has found a way of stopping me doing this. Being a chum is fun, that is why I'm one. Always smiling, always gay, chummy at work and chummy at play. Laugh away your worries, don't be sad or glum, and everyone will know that you're a chum, chum, chum. No, don't.
Ah, lovely.
It was written a long time ago when gay meant happy.
You just don't say those things these days.
No.
You know, you get in a lot of trouble.
So then Nicky died in 1956. Television started with the Olympic Games in Melbourne, and after the radio appeal they said, do you want to do this 5-night-a-week thing? And that's what happened on May the 6th, 31 years ago today.
I've got something here on my rundown sheet that says something about bad teeth.
Oh, have we not had bad teeth? This is going very...
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Dear.
You see, perfectly good teeth, but terrible spaces. So I had those 4 taken out and a plate with 4 better spaced ones put in.
What a revelation.
Well, I hope not. But it's been handy because when I used to do the old character, George Wilson, that if you can whip out some teeth, you go straight into a sort of elderly voice. It helps you.
What about in Mudgee tonight, in Melbourne tonight?
In Melbourne tonight.
Yeah.
May the 6th night. 31 years. Do you want to see the start
Yes,
of it?
I do.
It's a very old kinescope, I think.
Graham Kennedy's in Melbourne tonight.
reminds me of the first time I went into Norm Spencer's office. I went in to see Norm Spencer for a job. And typical of Norm, he jobbed me.
Boom, boom. How embarrassing, Ken. I don't know how to apologise.
What a terrific bouncing start. I mean, was that always planned? Was that something you said, Lee, we're going to grab them straight away? I mean, the music was so terrific.
Oh, yes, that was planned, but Little Nervous Me wasn't planned. I was nervous in that one like I was last Monday week.
Graham, one of the favourites on IMT, a great lady. I know you got a tremendous admiration for her. She could sell products like no other, they tell me.
That's true.
And you know who it is.
Yes.
And she's got a special message for you, Evie Hayes.
Oh, wonderful.
Evie, I loves you, Evie.
Graham, I loves ya. And, oh, you used to say that. Evie, I loves you, and I used to say, and I loved you back. And those were the days, darling, when I sang those memorable commercials.
Tom Piper, Tom Piper, Tom P-I-P-E-R. It's such a treat, just eat and eat, Tom P-I-P-E-R.
Oh, and the money was lovely. Remember, Graham? Anyway, it's wonderful to know that you're in harness again, Graham. I'm delighted.
Ken just said we're going to sell your clothes when you go. At auction.
Yeah.
Ken, how revolting.
Well, I mean,
I suppose there'll be a few logies to buy and there'll be some clothes.
Yes, there will. I think it'll be a real good garage sale, I reckon.
Well, I'll try not to run in them and get them sweaty. I'll try and keep them neat so that when I'm dead, you can flog them. Graham, what big eyes you have. All the better to watch the media with. I don't know about you, but I find the Sunday papers a waste of time and money. I will not pay, well, it's $1, I think, for a whole lot of magazine rubbish that was printed at 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. In fact, today, if you could check this with the Milsons Point news agency, I cancelled my Sun Herald for other reasons, but I'm sick of... No, really, they're printed the day before. They're not newspapers. Here's a story from the Sun Herald about actress Deborah Lee Furness talking about her role in the Australian drama Shame. Is that what they're calling All the Way Now?
Paragraph 4 has this. It's also one of the best roles I've ever had, says the self-confessed work alcoholic. What's a work alcoholic?
What's a work alcoholic? Perhaps it's someone who only gets drunk between 9 and 5 Monday to Friday. From the Courier Mail in Brisbane, we found this. A man told a Brisbane court yesterday he had no interest in rekindling a romance with a former girlfriend he allegedly murdered. Well, I don't blame him either. Poor. And in the Supreme Court in Perth, yesterday's West Australian reported that a girl got so drunk at her ex-boyfriend's 21st birthday party that she was sick and had to be put to bed. She went on to say that she woke up to find a youth having sexual intercourse with her. She said that at first she thought it was her ex-boyfriend, but because the hair felt different, she realised it was someone else.
What an amazing story.
I guess the hair felt different. I mean, never mind. Perhaps it really was a case of mistaken identity. Perhaps she didn't move because she thought it was her boyfriend, and because she didn't move, he thought it was his wife.
The eternal triangle.
From the dying Melbourne Herald comes this item. The Melbourne Theatre Company is to stage a trilogy of plays called The Firstborn. It'll be performed in 2 parts. That'd be like the Andrews sisters singing a duet, wouldn't it?
It certainly would. You know, most people I've spoken to about your 31 years in television mention the live sketches that you used on IMT.
Yeah.
And one of those co-stars was Rosie Sturgis, who was in the thick of all the fun.
She was. Yeah. She was.
I was thinking about something last night in bed.
So was I, Joyce. I was too, but by the time I got you awake, I'd forgotten what I was thinking about. It must have been something.
Pigs.
And pigs to you. From a great height so that it splatters.
No, you don't understand, do you? That's what I was thinking about in bed last night. Now, listen to me, George.
Pigs?
Pigs. You know how you like a little bit of bacon. and roast pork.
Yes.
And you know how expensive meat is these days.
Yes.
I thought if we got a couple of pigs and let them breed, we'd save a lot of money.
Oh, yes, Joyce, but what about the smell?
Well, the pigs will have to get used to it.
Hi, Graham. Rosie here. So, it's a special day today, eh? 31 years since you made your first appearance in IMT. They were great days, weren't they? Unforgettable to those of us who were part of it. Lots of wonderful memories. However, I'm not here to reminisce. I'm here to wish you success in your new venture. Happy anniversary for today. And I've got to say, it's great to have you back where you belong. Stay in there, kid.
Here we go, 2.
I'm travelling. And now, the finance report. Wouldn't you think that on this very special night they would have turfed out the No, bloody finance report, but the All Ordinaries must go through. It's all very ordinary to me, if you ask. I mean, really.
In the markets today, the All Ordinaries closed down 1.8 at the end of a slow week. The Nikkei Dow was also sluggish, dropping 135.33, while the FT 100 was up a healthy 10 points. The Australian dollar surged ahead to 77 US cents, and gold was steady at $445.05.
While Mr Kennedy is well known around the country for his TV shows and movies, not everyone got to see his golden moments in ads. Here's proof that if you have to make a living, you may as well do it having fun.
Yes, here I am, every inch a king, every foot a ruler. Ah! And there's a free lay with every carpet in stock. Oh.
Do you have trouble with spots, carbuncles, bunions and other facial blemishes? Then try this, the old Norman Ross red dot reduction trick. Oh, welcome to our wonderful country. I'd like you to meet Spot. Spot and I are here to tell you about Norman Ross red spot reductions. Anything with a red spot on it is reduced.
Oh, boy, just call me Russ. This modular lounge suite is only $499. Oh. This Rosalind wall unit, which is truly appealing, is $430. You save $50. Peel me another. No, I'm a king. Peel me a queen.
I knew we should have charged more. On the subject of Mother's Day and advertising, Ken, this is something I've done which I'm becoming unconfident about. I've interfered with... We've thought of a thing to do where you take somebody's commercial and without going to a lot of trouble, we change it without reshooting it. I mean, it's an old idea to do send-up commercials, but we actually take the commercial that's actually there and we play with it and alter it. There's a local Mother's Day commercial here in Sydney. Wayne Pearce, the famous Balmain rugby league player.
Now, I got to go out and talk to him again.
Oh, no, it's all right.
And he's a good... Well,
he's a gentleman, isn't he?
Yeah.
I like him very much. I've only met him a couple of times. I mean, we know not all footballers can string words together and form sentences.
I never
but
said
Wayne,
that.
No, but some can't, Ken. Wayne can. He's a gentleman, and a jolly good player. Having said that, now we're going to crucify him. No. Having said that, Wayne Pearce is doing an ad on air at the moment for a jewellery store. In the commercial, he's in a jewellery store, and in the commercial he says, "Wouldn't Mum like one of these?" And then we see a whole lot of jewellery. Well, as I say, I've interfered with Wayne's commercial.
Hi, I'm Wayne Pearce, and this Mother's Day, I'm going to give my mum something really special. Just look what I've got to choose from. So give your mum something special, but shh, don't tell Dad.
Oh, dear.
We even revoiced him at the end.
I'm in trouble.
Ken, we even revoiced him because he says, "Shh, don't tell Mum." We changed it. "Shh, don't tell."
What a package to wake up to on Sunday morning.
Oh, he'll be right. He'll like that. We'll send him a copy of that.
I've got something wrapped up for you, love, in baby oil. Right. You know, and other people who are involved in your show, Mr Kennedy, can I have your attention?
Yes, I'm sorry.
A writer and a performer called Johnny Ladd.
Johnny Love Pot Ladd.
Luckily, everything that I do, I enter in my diary. So it's can I help you, sir? Are you that dirty, tasteless Graham Kennedy? Just a second, I'll look in the front. Graham C. Kennedy, yes. Yes, I am Graham.
Are you that dirty, filthy, tasteless, disgusting so-called TV star who does those rotten, vile bird impersonations?
Just a second. Occupation. TV announcer, yes, that's me. I've got it in my diary. Thank God for this diary.
Now listen.
Yes.
Do you know a young woman named Eloise Ainsworth?
Hang on a second. Eloise Ainsworth. Yes, I do. Yes.
Well, I want to ask you something. Did you take her back to your house last Saturday night?
Hang on. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I definitely did.
And did you make vile, violent, passionate love to her?
Yes, I did. God damn it.
Well, now listen. I am her husband, and I don't like it.
I didn't either.
Graham, happy 31. Of course, I didn't know you then, but you're so much older than I am. But I have been waiting for you to come round here because I knew it was birthday time, but I haven't been lonely because I've been sitting here saying cheers and having a little sip with George Wilson and Spartacus and Henry VIII and Cyril and the man who fired the cannon and 79 other characters who all fitted inside that wig. All your wigs, if you remember, which you sent to me. I can't think how many characters we could have played, you and me, because we never seem to have our own faces on screen at all. And it's great. We had a ball. I had a ball. I hope you did. And great fun, and it's good to see you back again. Happy 31, and here's to the next 31. Cheers. I feel like John Michael Housen.
Ten. 7.
4 3/4.
4. 3, 2.
Tony the Moustache Twirler, Tony Connolly's been in television actually a few months longer than I have. We were talking earlier, Ken, about how difficult it is in this country to only do that. I've always been in broadcasting. I haven't had any other job. I wouldn't know what else to do. I've either been on television, on radio, making motion pictures, or in a little bit of theatre. But it's quite something to say that's, you know, I've got through life quite well without having to drive a taxi in the afternoon.
Yeah, without changing occupation there, that is something.
You've been in broadcasting all your life?
Pretty well, yeah, pretty well. Been fortunate.
I have to interrupt this with something very boring. The weather forecast, the weather, I can't even say it. The weather forecast is very boring on most TV news shows, but not on ours. We have good weather. We give excellent weather. As the one-legged bicycle rider said, it's all in the way you put it over.
Adelaide, a few showers, an expected low of 12 and a high of 20. Brisbane, a fine day with expected temperatures between 16 and 26. For Canberra, a little rain, 13 to 19. Darwin, a fine day, 25 to 32. Hobart, scattered showers, a low of 12 and a high of 20. Melbourne, also scattered showers with temperatures between 15 and 21. Perth, mainly fine, 13 to 21. And Sydney, a dry day with a low of 15 and a high of 23.
Oh, I think that's enough. We've got an exclusive on Monday night, if you'll be with us. Ken Sutcliffe has an exclusive story on how Greg Granger actually broke his legs. And this week has really been a big one. There's been the New Caledonia hostage drama, the Grasby and Fitzgerald inquiries, me singing the Chum song, a shootout in Canberra, and a lost Tilbury found in a ladies' loo. Ken and I have had enough, so we're going to POQ. Good night.
We've got you tonight.
You have got me.
We have got you tonight. We have got you. You don't know a thing about this, but...
I don't.
Basically, I've got to tell you, Mr. Kennedy, the subtle reminders about Gibbo's jumper just got to us in the end.
Really?
Well, but... Anyway.
Thank you very... Hang on. No late item was handed to me tonight. How... Oh, it is. It's got Yasser Crackerfat's little scarf around it. Now, it is, ladies and gentlemen, it's Gibbo's jumper.
Yes.
How wonderful.
Yes.
Ken, that's very kind of you.
This was his last night on News with Brian. He leaves us at the weekend, and that was his parting gesture.
We wish Mike all the best, too, in his new in his new job, and I'm thrilled about that. Thanks, Ken.
That's all right. Thank Mike.
Oh, is it really Mike's?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's good.